All right. Good night. Good night. Just kidding. Hi, guys, and good evening. Thank you again so much for being on the team call tonight. It is Tuesday, April 5th, and we're going to start it off with our product knowledge from our little expert, Melissa, and she's going to be speaking about the block tonight.
Hey everybody, I'm sorry I missed last week. We were having some issues with the phones and the internet. So we're going to pick up where we left off and we're going to talk about block tonight. If you can't hear me, let me know. I'm kind of losing my voice after going out of town last weekend. So if I need to speak up, just let me know. Block, this is a product that I really love, and I don't think that everybody really understands the full potential of what this product really can do for you and for almost all of us, actually. Most of us know it as eat it before you eat or take it before you eat a carb-loaded meal because it's going to block the absorption of your carbohydrates. That might be true, but it is so much more than that. So I'm going to try to keep this really organized for you guys so that you can take really good notes and bring this back to your customers, because I personally think that almost every person out there can benefit from this. Again, just to kind of tell you guys what we say every week, this is very in-depth information, a lot more so than what we post on our pages. These are research that have been done on individual ingredients. So as far as diseases and illnesses, we don't talk about that on our social media, but these are more for your knowledge base, so you know what our products are capable of, and you can speak to your customers and other ambassadors about them. So first we're going to talk about what block functions are in general, and then I'm going to go into what the individual ingredients actually do. So the number one function of block is that it slows the absorption of sugar and starches to maintain a healthy glucose level. It's also going to fight against fats and carbs. Again, so that's why it's more than just a cheat meal, because we all have fat and we all have sugar in our diet. No matter how clean we eat, it is in almost everything that we have. It also reduces the starch and sugars from converting into glucose by up to 48%. So that's where it gets the name. It blocks the carbohydrate absorption up to 48%. We've all seen and read that before. It also acts as an appetite suppressant. It can reduce the glycemic index of the foods that you're actually eating. It promotes healthy weight control, which we'll talk about how it does that in a little bit. And it can minimize free radicals and oxidative stress. Again, that's another one that you hear with a lot of antioxidants that has to do with cancer, things like that, which again, that's a touchy subject. We'll talk about some studies that have been done. But again, it's more of an FYI, not something necessarily for you to post on your Facebook page. There are only 2 ingredients in block. The number one ingredient, the first ingredient, is white kidney bean. This is what actually helps fight your carbohydrates. What happens when you eat food with carbohydrates in them, your body has an enzyme that's actually going to break down the carbohydrates into smaller particles, and it's going to actually be converted into sugar, stored as sugar, fat, and can actually increase your blood glucose levels immediately, actually. What the block does, or what the white kidney bean does, is it actually paralyzes this enzyme so that it can't actually break down that food. So in essence, it's stopping your body from breaking down the food that's going to turn into sugar, which is absorbed as body fat or increases your blood sugar. So up to 48%. And that food is eventually just eliminated or eaten up by your gut and never actually becoming part of your body fat, things like that. That's white kidney bean. It's very simple. It's pretty straightforward. You can find it at most vitamin stores. So it's really not what makes this product as amazing as it is. The second ingredient is called NC2. That's INSEA, the number 2. It's more commonly known as brown seaweed. I'll tell you why it's called NC2 in a little bit. That's a trademarked name, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But what that does is that actually focuses on the sugar content of food, the table sugar that most of our foods have. It's actually very, very important for diabetics because, as I mentioned earlier, it can actually lower the glycemic index of the foods that you're eating. If you're not familiar with what the glycemic index is, it's a rating system of foods that have sugar, a lot of fruits mainly. And basically it measures how it affects your or raises your blood glucose. I know one of my ambassadors and I were talking earlier, and I have a chart. If you guys are interested, I can post it in the page that actually tells you, for instance, things like bananas are pretty high on the glycemic index. Things like berries, strawberries are low on the glycemic index. So they're good for you. The brown seaweed also helps stabilize your insulin. So those two things combined are why it's really, really, really good product for a diabetic, because it is helping stabilize that insulin level, and also stopping the raising of the glycemic index. Another thing that brown seaweed does, it's actually a natural fat metabolizer. About 5 years ago, I'm sure you guys are all familiar with good old Dr. Oz. About 5 or 6 years ago, there was a big run on brown seaweed, and it's actually pretty hard to find in vitamin stores. We only had one product in my store that had it because it is a natural fat burner. We're all familiar with fat burners, and most of them actually have stimulants in them. And so people that have blood pressure problems and things like that can't take fat burners. They typically aren't supposed to take Accelerator, Boost, things like that, because they have stimulants in them. But this is a fat burner that they can actually take, and will actually help naturally increase their metabolism. Now, how it does that is it is a naturally occurring source of iodine. And here's where we were talking earlier about the thyroid function. Iodine is imperative for thyroid function. If you know anybody with underactive thyroid, overactive thyroid, any type of thyroid problems, they're typically on iodine. Well, this is going to be a naturally occurring source of it. So it actually helps with your thyroid function. People that have underactive thyroid typically cannot lose weight. It's very difficult for them to lose weight because they're not actually producing the hormone for their thyroid to function properly. In addition to iodine, brown seaweed also is a source of iron, B12, fiber, and folate. Let's see here. We talked earlier about one of the functions is as an appetite suppressant, and that comes from the brown seaweed. What it does is it actually expands in your stomach when you after you take it. Okay, so that's why it's very important to take it 30 minutes prior to eating, because it's going to expand in your stomach and it's going to make you feel fuller. So that combined with leveled insulin, with stable insulin levels, is how it's really going to help diabetics and help people from overindulging. And let me tell you guys, if you take block and then you overeat, your stomach's going to hurt. You're not going to feel well because it's actually making you feel fuller. So the point is to stop you from overeating. There's an 80% rule, if you guys have ever heard about that, and that is to stop eating when you feel about 80% full. Your brain kind of has to catch up with what you're eating. So let yourself kind of sit back after you feel about 80% full, 75, 80%. And then if you're still hungry 20 minutes later, then you can have some more. But with this particular product, you don't want to overeat. Let me see here. As we just talked a second ago about dosaging, this is kind of open to interpretation. It says to take 1 or 2 capsules 1 to 2 times a day, 30 minutes prior to your biggest meals. Everybody's going to be different. I've read some people take 1 capsule before 2 different meals. I personally take 2 capsules prior to 1 meal. You can take up to 2 capsules before 2 different meals. So that is a maximum of 4 a day. It doesn't have very many or really any bad side effects, but one thing to be forewarned about is you don't want to go over the maximum dosage because you don't want too much iodine. Iodine's great. It's necessary for most people, and most of us don't get enough of it, but you don't want to overdo it either. You also want to make sure you're drinking plenty of water. That will also help with the appetite as far as not overindulging, because water will make you feel a little fuller. But that also helps activate the brown seaweed to help it expand into your stomach. Another reason why you want to make sure that you take it 30 minutes prior to eating your meals. Now let's talk about who can take block or who needs block. I'd say virtually, there are a couple of exceptions, but virtually everyone needs block or can take block. Because like I said earlier, the majority of us are going to have sugars in our food. Anybody that actually has sugar in their diet can benefit from this particular product. This is particularly good for diabetics, as we said earlier, as well as people with low or no thyroid. Now, on that note, there is one warning. I don't know if you guys how many people are familiar with Hashimoto's disease. A lot of people think that is the same thing as hypothyroidism, and it's not. It is actually an autoimmune disease that can cause symptoms of hypothyroidism. And I don't know the exact reason why, but it is said that if you have Hashimoto's, or if one of your customers has Hashimoto's, they need to consult with their doctor prior to taking this product. So that is one thing to keep in mind. The other group of individuals that should not take block are going to be pregnant and nursing moms. That is not because of the brown seaweed, because that would actually be very beneficial to them, but because of the blocking of the carbohydrates from the white kidney bean, they don't want to limit their carbohydrate absorption because of the baby and nursing, things like that. So that's another one that they don't really probably want to take. Now, I told you guys I wanted to kind of explain the difference between NC2 and brown seaweed in general, because I wasn't familiar with this term and I needed to actually look it up. NC2 is actually a trademark of a certain company, which I have the name of, but not really important. The point is the NC2 is actually a form of the brown seaweed that's made of two different species of brown seaweed, and it has been clinically studied. It has been clinically proven to do specific things in human trials. That's why, compliance-wise, we are actually allowed to say it can decrease absorption of carbs up to 48%, because it's actually been studied in human trials, the NC2 itself. I found this actually very interesting, so you guys might want to write these numbers down. We said it says, let's see, the studies that they did, 48.3% reduction in blood glucose levels, 12.1% reduction in insulin secretion, and 7.9% improvement in insulin sensitivity. So those numbers right there will kind of show you why.
Can you repeat those?
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks.
48.3% reduction in blood glucose levels. That's where your blocking of the carbs coming from. That's what they're talking about. 12.1% reduction in insulin secretion, which is meaning they're not needing to. Okay, they're more sensitive to it. 7.9% improvement in insulin sensitivity. If you guys have talked to diabetics, you'll understand what those words mean. And if you don't, I'll be happy to talk to you guys about it on a side note. I don't want to get too much into the science of what that means. But those are actual in human trials proven. So that's why we're actually allowed to use those numbers. A couple of other things that I found that I wanted to mention about brown seaweed, because like I said, it's a pretty incredible supplement on its own. It's actually been studied for its potential effect on cancer, specifically the prevention or spreading of colorectal cancer and breast cancer. I mentioned that as a side note, just because I don't want you guys posting that or anything like that. That hasn't been necessarily proven. This is something that they're still studying. It's kind of hard to prove something's effect on cancer. But there are a lot of studies that are leaning towards this belief that the brown seaweed does have that effect on the possibility of either prevention or stopping the spreading of those particular cancers. Does anybody have any questions about block or any of the ingredients or anything else?
If you guys do, go ahead and just unmute yourself if you have a question for Melissa.
I have a question. anybody ever said that they were constipated while taking it?
I haven't personally heard that, but I could see that might possibly happen only because of the fiber content in it is really all I could think of, or possibly the expansion of the brown seaweed is the thought process there. I didn't read that that was a side effect. I don't know how many pills they were taking, but my suggestion would be to just back down to one, maybe twice a day.
Well, it was me. And full disclosure, and
You just watched yourself on YouTube.
I only took 2, and I was still taking my ProBio and my BioCleanse, and I was like, okay, this is the only thing I changed. It must be that, and then I stopped taking it, and then I was fine. So
right.
I don't know.
Any supplement, it's going to affect people differently, but because of the fiber content in there, it might have bothered you a little bit. You said you took 2 at once.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you still have it and you want to give it another try
Mm-hmm.
taking. There's actually a really good video from a sports nutritionist on YouTube that's an ambassador of ours, where honestly I got a lot of this information. I've known a lot of this information, but she really just spells it all out for you. And she only takes 1 at a time. I personally take 2. I'm not really good at taking things twice a day, so I only take 2 at a time, and it doesn't bother me. But again, everybody's systems are different. So as with most things, we always recommend you start low, just like with the probiotic and the BioCleanse and things like that, start slow. So, my recommendation would be start with 1. It could possibly be the fiber that's in it. But I didn't read that as a specific side effect, but everybody's affected differently. So maybe just try 1 and see if that has a different effect on you.
Okay, thanks.
And there's no such thing as TMI. Everybody poops.
I love it. I do have a question. I have to say that the block and with the underactive thyroid is kind of new information. Is new for me. Would you prefer that over the X Factor or would you recommend both for thyroid issue for an underactive?
I would absolutely recommend both. It's kind of like, somebody asked earlier for pain, would you recommend, would I say ease over Mega X? Well, they can both help. So they're different functions. They're different ways. I know that, the riboflavin and the thiamine and the X Factor that can help with your thyroid function. I haven't done a lot of research on what exactly it does for your thyroid function, so right. I can't tell you. Okay. This one has a direct correlation to your thyroid. So I would say, me personally, if I had to choose one or the other, my recommendation would be Block.
Yeah, that's so crazy. That's the first I've heard of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I said this at that meeting last time when I did the products. This is kind of the unsung hero that people don't really talk about and don't know enough about. And that's why I was telling you guys about this one, because I think that a lot of people can benefit from it. And I'm guilty of this too. I kind of forget about it. I don't take it every day. I don't tell all my customers about it. I have diabetic customers, low thyroid customers. I don't tell them about it because I forget about it. And, it's something that I think a lot of people could really benefit from. There's a lot of ambassadors that will attest to, once they added this in and started taking it every single day, they noticed a huge difference in whether they had reached a plateau, or thyroid function, or insulin levels, or blood sugar levels, or whatever it may be. They noticed a measurable difference once they added this in on a regular basis. Not like most of us take it where, I'm going to go eat pasta, let me take my Block first. Because I'll be honest, that's how me and my mom use it.
Right.
I'm incorporating it on an everyday basis so that it can, we all need iodine. I'm telling you, I didn't get the numbers, but the majority of us are actually deficient in iodine. So that would probably help pretty much everybody out there with your thyroid function, whether you're underactive or overactive.
Right. Yeah, well, I never took the Block myself, and I recently started taking it when I go into work so I don't eat the food at Beefs. Because that is no bueno. So I've recently just started taking it.
Because there are so many products that do different things, and most of them you have to take either one a certain time during the day or two, are there any of them that you shouldn't take together? You know, any?
The cool thing about Plexus is it's actually designed as a whole to be taken together, except for Boost and Accelerator. Those are the only two products that you're not able to take together. Now I realize, most people aren't going to take the full line, but I've got the full line downstairs in my cabinet right now. Yeah. So I realize it's kind of hard to keep up with some of these, but they are actually designed to work synergistically together, and complement each other. And if you take there's not enough ingredient in any one product or two product that you're going to get too much of something that's going to cause harm if you take all of them, except for the Boost or the Accelerator. And that's an either or. You can only take one or the other. You cannot take both of them at the same time because a lot of the ingredients overlap, and especially because of the stimulants, you don't want to get too much of that. But everything, again, that's the beauty of Plexus. It was designed to all these products actually work synergistically together to give you the best results.
Okay.
I really want to reiterate that, I know that we all love and we believe in Plexus 100%. But the fact that we're using the highest grade brown seaweed in this really kind of told me, it showed me how important quality ingredient is for Plexus. Because this is not the form of brown seaweed that we had in my vitamin store. We just had your basic brown seaweed, which is still great, but it's not been clinically studied like the Institute has. So this is the highest grade brown seaweed that you can find on the market.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions?
No. I actually do think, though, that my friend's kid has Hashimoto's. I'm still waiting for her to answer me a text.
Okay. All right. Well, I do appreciate Melissa very much so.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to jump into a few little housekeeping stuff. Since there are some people here that I don't know if y'all know how to really utilize the search box in any of the team pages. Like I know for myself, I search a lot, random stuff, like random words. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys and share my screen for those of you that maybe don't know how, or don't know like where it's at. So let's go in. Let's go in Kelly's team page. It's a little bit bigger.
Okay.
So like Charlene, for an example, with you asking some of questions or anything, like anything related, I go in all of the team pages that I participate in and I search. I search them. So I just want to show you guys sometimes before you maybe reach out and ask the questions that you guys can start to go ahead and search them for yourselves. And you would be surprised sometimes the things that you learn. Okay, so share screen. Don't mind all the other. Can you guys all see my screen? Just nod. I muted y'all. Okay, so right here, I don't know how big it is. You see right here? Okay, so for an example, Melissa and I were talking about taxes. Who just circled that? Who just did that? I didn't do it. Oh my God. Somebody unmute. Who did that?
I did.
Who's I?
Marlena.
How did you do that?
It has a little pen at the bottom of my screen. I just tapped it and I circled it.
Okay, well, you circled the wrong box, but thank you so much. The one, circle the one above it. I didn't know you could do that.
I missed.
I know. So you just deleted it. That is so cool. Let me see if I can do it. See, I told you learn something new every day. Oh my God. Sorry. Draw. Okay, I'm going to try this. Oh, you see that right there? That is so cool. Sorry. Little things I get excited about. I think you got it. Okay, so now I don't know how to undo. Stop. Clear. Okay. Oh, how do you stop drawing? I'm so sorry, you guys.
I just lifted the pen is all I did.
I know. Well, mouse. There it is.
There, I did it for you.
Okay, well, there. Thank you so much. I never knew that. I forgot about all those. So Melissa and I were talking about like taxes for an example. I mean, you can literally almost search anything that you may, and you have to play around with it because sometimes the words are different. So let's just do taxes. And say for an example, Melissa and I asked customer service this. Here's something about Melissa had a customer where she was overcharged on tax, is what the way we understood it. So this person says, I have contacted customer service about overcharging for tax on one of my ambassadors, and they assured me it would be fixed. It wasn't, and now I may lose an ambassador over it. Who do I need to talk to get this fixed once and for all? So Kelly jumped in and handled the situation. But something that Melissa and I learned is that she had a customer and she was charged the full retail amount of her purchase. So she used the discount, but she paid like $26. And Melissa and I were like, whoa. So we come to find out she paid tax on the full retail price. So that's just an example that let's see. I'm going to mute y'all because I feel weird talking to myself. Let's just see. All right. OMG. One of y'all unmute yourself. Tell me a word that you want to say. Okay. What's another word? Melissa, what was the other issue that you had? Minimum of 100?
Yeah.
Let's just see what it pulled up. So sometimes it takes time to find it, or maybe if you're not finding it right away, how do you spell minimum? M-I-N-I.
U-M.
Is that right? It
I
looks
can't even see it. It's so small.
I know. We'll just.
Never mind. I just zoomed in.
The screen.
This is really cool.
You're missing an M. Minimum.
And
What would I do with that, you guys?
I thought I was the only one who did that. Spelled
No.
stuff out.
So obviously nothing in here. Okay.
Apps, whoever posted spelled it wrong too.
Right? That's challenging. But like, let's say, so for an example, like I'm in a page with one of our diamond uplines. So that's where sometimes I get a lot of our information. That's as you move up the ranks. So that's like one of the bonuses that you get to be, you learn and you find out some information. So let me just try it in this group.
It was wrong. It's an I. Minimum.
Mini-mum. I got it.
Not you.
No?
No.
Well. Still doesn't look right.
It's M-I. Somebody else spell it.
I think I'm right. Mini.
You're right. M-I-N-I-M-U-M. That's right.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah. Minimum. So you just kind of go, well, like we're trying to find out because Melissa and I were talking about this, and you can go show more results. But anything that you guys are looking up, you know, like migraines may not be in this one, and you all should be in. You know, a lot of you guys ask about the products. Let's see, I have so many.
How do you search from the app on your phone? Because I couldn't search from my app.
It's the magnifying glass. And then in addition, I want you guys all to also know this. So you can also search in the group pages, whatever you're looking for. You just have to play around with certain words and certain spellings. But say for an example, you guys are trying to find a testimonial on plexus and acne. You just go in the search. You see it up at the top here?
Yeah.
And I'll pull up anything with plexus and acne. Look at that. Oh my God, that looks like it hurts.
Poor Rachel.
I know. And you would have never known, I would have never known that, you know what I mean? Looking at her face now. Anyways, so you guys all understand that. You see how you can do it all now? Literally, that's all I do. If I'm looking for something, or, you know, I always try to find it first before reaching out and asking for help. But I definitely want you guys to utilize any of the group like even if you don't participate in some of the pages that you're in, it doesn't hurt to go and search in those team pages just to try to maybe find your answer. And I read through the comments, and if you have any questions and there's any confusion about what is being said, please reach out to please reach out to me or your sponsor. And then maybe if your sponsor doesn't know, they'll reach out to me, because sometimes there's a lot of misinformation, or a lot of people throw things around. So like for an example, when that 15% coupon came out, that was just kind of a hot mess when everything came out. And sometimes I may not like blast you guys with all of this information if I find out. I know sometimes you guys see information before it's shared in our team page, but sometimes I wait to share the information to kind of like let things die down. And sometimes there's corrections made, and sometimes it's not always the right information. So I kind of give it some time before sharing, after I'm sitting back watching all the back and forthness in the other team pages, because I just don't want any confusion for us. Ooh, somebody raised their hand. Darlene, lower hand. Lots of new firsts on this call.
No, I just seen it, so I was like, oh, what's this?
No, I'm glad we're using it. Okay, go ahead. It's all.
No, I didn't need anything.
Oh. Well, now we know. That's kind of neat.
I just wanted to try it out.
Brian probably would have a hard time using that.
Where is that?
Yeah.
I went on more, and then it just gave me an option.
Oh, I see it.
No.
Yeah. So, okay.
What does
So
it look like? I just said it to you. Sorry, I didn't even mean to. I was trying to get back on my screen.
it's all right. Now we all know how to raise our hands.
I know, right?
All right. So, does anybody have any questions about anything pertaining to researching or looking it up on the team pages, or even on Facebook?
Nope. I guess I'm just a retard or something, because yesterday Melissa was finding all this information, and when I searched it, I even took a screenshot and proved to her, like, it's telling me there's no results found.
And sometimes, you know what I learned? It's also spelling.
I was putting the same exact thing she told me to put in there. CMT was what we were looking up.
We were putting in the exact same thing, and I got all these testimonials because I'm like literally copying and pasting them into the group page.
Mm-hmm.
All these testimonials. She screenshotted me what she saw. We used the exact same spelling. She couldn't see them, but I don't know.
I don't know why.
She does.
Well, that's why we're all a team. So, but definitely, at least you're trying. So, I mean, everybody should be in the Plexus Journeys page.
And the what?
Plexus Journeys. Plexus Journeys Ambassadors, right?
I don't ever see anybody posting there, but I have a minute.
Yeah, I know that was somewhat on pause for a little bit due to the compliance when it was blown up a little bit.
Well, it's kind of weird because all the things that they've been saying about compliance, I've been seeing still being posted in there. Like things that they're telling us not to post.
Right. Well, you know how everyone is. I mean, everyone, you have to understand, regardless of the rank, it doesn't matter if you're a diamond in the company. There's some people that still don't know, like, compliance. And you'll see some of the top jewels in the company sharing non-compliant things. So just because they are in the top of the company doesn't necessarily mean that what they're sharing is the right info. So that's something to also keep in mind as you continue to share and copy and paste posts, because I try to be mindful of what I copy and paste or what I share. So we're all good there? Okay, I'm going to lower your hand. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to bring up is that this is kind of a tough love, and I don't like talking about it, but I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page and that there's no negativity. And if you feel any negativity from anyone, please share with me, because I definitely want to nip it in the butt ASAP. I think that we've done an amazing job keeping that out of our team page. We work really well together and helping each other. I think that for the most part, all of you guys put in your best foot forward, and you do the best you can to try to find the answers for yourself, and then you lean to others and reach out to others. So if there's anybody that shares anything with you, we all vent, so I understand that. But if we're talking about each other to one another, then I don't want that. So, and that needs to be addressed at the ASAP. And if it gets to the point where it gets out of hand and out of control, people will start being removed out of the team pages. So I just wanted to make sure. We've never really had to have that talk, and nor do I really want to, but it is something that it does, like for an example, Allison, she had to make a post in the GEMS page doing the same thing. And she says, it's all a privilege that we're all in these team pages and we're all here. So be respectful of each other. Don't bash the company. Don't bash anything. And if you will be removed. So that's what is being trained at the top from Allison. And I definitely want to, train you guys all the same. And I think you guys would all agree that you would want that in your teams as well. We have too much fun. And I think that so far we've done a really good job enjoying one another. Is that even a word?
One another.
Melissa, you want to take over? But I think you guys got the point. So, and if it gets to the point where you feel like you're being dragged down, or the direction that you're headed in, let's definitely just have a little one-on-one talk, and let's coach you through it. Let's help you through it, or let's address the issue. But I know that for myself and a lot of other people, you don't want to confront it. You don't want to talk about it, and you just kind of want to brush it under the rug. But at some point, it's going to come out, and it's either going to get a lot uglier than it needed to be. So I want you guys to all feel comfortable with coming to me with anything and everything if you need to share it. And I always try to turn to other leaders to ask for their advice on how to handle. So I don't just, I'm not making this decision basically just off how I feel. So I do want to let you know that I do reach out to other leaders that have bigger teams and have had to deal with stuff. Let's be honest, we're all girls. So you know how that is. So that is definitely one thing that I wanted to address. And with us coming to almost the middle of the month, how's everyone feeling? Hey, Tammy, You know
What?
what? I'm going to put you on the spot, okay?
Yeah.
So I know Melissa and I talked about, and we haven't really done it on any of our team calls, but we really wanted to go through each of our team members, and we wanted them to share why it is that they joined Plexus or share a little bit about their journey.
Okay.
You know, so I want you to share with the team what you shared with me today.
Oh, well, hold on. My cat is annoying me. And okay. So I'm going to move out of here because I think Christian's trying to sleep, so I don't want to be too loud. Basically, what I shared earlier is that I feel like lately I have started to come within myself and feel that I am surrounded by people on a regular basis that I don't really want to be surrounded by anymore. Not necessarily that the people are bad, but I just feel like I'm surrounded by a lot of people who are going nowhere with their lives. And I want to go somewhere with my life. I have goals set for myself for the next year, 5 years, 10 years, all down the road. And I'm just feeling like I'm consumed by people who have no drive to better themselves as people or even care about their health. And unfortunately, being a bartender, I'm around a lot of people who are drinking and unhealthy and complain a lot about how they feel or what they're going through. And it eats me alive to be around those people constantly, you know, and me trying to do what I'm trying to do. So I'm just trying to surround myself with positive people who are happy in life and want to go do things in life and accomplish things and be healthy and happy. I just feel like lately I've been so consumed with negativity around me that I just am overwhelmed. I actually cried about it earlier because I'm so over it. I just want something better for me and my family too.
And I want you to also share with them, well, I guess I'll share, but Tammy kind of started her journey at the very beginning when I joined. So she joined the first year, like the first couple of months that I joined, and Tammy has always been commission qualified every single month. She took the products for herself, but she never pushed the business. So for some of you guys that are just now joining us, or maybe for some of you guys that, you guys face challenges, Tammy shared with me that she wished she would have never stopped working her business. Even if it was posting or reaching out, she allowed her life to consume her and take away something that she really wanted to pursue and push. So now she's at the point where she tells me, this is my job, and this is why it's important for me to know what your guys' goals or what what it is you hope to accomplish or what you want to achieve. And over time, it does change. But I'm here to remind you guys, Tammy, it's like I told Tammy, she said, I don't ever want to give up now, because she's left and come back, and she's left and come back. And now each time she's left and come back, she comes back stronger. And this is the first time that she shared with me in almost 2 years and got emotional about it. So that's where you really know when I feel when somebody's truly in it to better themselves, and they're going to push no matter what it takes. And it's like I told Tammy, I said, it's been a good couple of weeks since she committed and told herself that, and she told me that. So I tell her, you have to keep pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone. And she ended up signing her first ambassador, and now she's potentially, have a couple guests confirmed to go to the Saturday meeting. So now that she's giving it her 100%, she's now, and taking action, she's now starting to see things change for her in her business. And she came back and she shared with me, I wish I would have never, quit or gave up, because she probably feels like she would be a little bit more ahead. She does have a better understanding of the business, but I never want that to stop you guys from sharing the opportunity, because that's what I'm here for. That's what Melissa's here for. That's what Tracy's here. That's what we're all here for. So if you guys haven't, really dug deep on your why, I think now Tammy's at a point in her life and in her business that she will never stop working her business. She'll always continue to share Plexus no matter what. It may not be all the time, as far as like, sitting in front of the computer 8 hours, but she now knows within herself and what she hopes to accomplish that this is potentially an option for her to make changes within herself. So thank you very much for sharing that.
Yes, sharing.
Yeah.
I didn't hear you.
Anybody else?
Well, Odie, I think that we should see if anybody wants to volunteer. I think we should do this every week, like you and I had talked about.
Yes.
And everybody wants to volunteer to share their why next week. You have a whole week to prepare for it, so you won't be put on the spot like Tammy. Anybody want to volunteer for next week?
Nobody's going to volunteer. I'm just going to put them on the spot.
Crickets.
There you go. Like, seriously, it made me nervous, but I'm going to tell you right now, that just made me more hungry. Does that make sense? Like, now other people know. It's not just between me and you. It's not just within myself anymore either. Like, it just makes you, I had to step outside my comfort zone, and I had no choice. I could have said no, but I was like, no, this is what I need. I need to share this. I need to feel it again,
2 years it took me to get that out.
Listen, stop. That's not fair.
I'm going to say, as a new ambassador, it's really helpful to hear kind of, especially those of you that I'm seeing all the time now, to know what your stories are, because I've only been on Plexus a week, and I don't have much of my own story. So if I can say, hey, my friend Melissa or my friend Amanda or, all of you, I feel like I can speak about, actual people, not, to me,
Right.
people that are just on the internet for right now.
Yeah, and that's a great.
No, you are on the internet for me.
Let me tell you, it's so funny because, my first convention is like you meet all these, we have all these meetings and you communicate with everybody through Facebook. And then when you go to an actual corporate event and you're like, is that so-and-so? Is that who that is on Facebook? And you're like, hey! So it's just funny. But Allison does bring up a great point that this actually happened earlier this week. A girl that wasn't even on my team, Mariah Hag, she knows I'm a stay-home mom, and this is my first time doing network marketing. She reached out to me and said, hey, can you do a 3-way call? Because she's like, I have a potential that's interested. She's a mom, and I just think she's afraid that she's going to fail at this business. And she's like, I think you have a great story to share with her. So if you don't know anybody that can relate to your potential, always ask me, because I do know a lot of people that are in the Plexus business that I can maybe find that might be like a great fit for your potential. I ended up doing a 3-way call with her at like 8 o'clock in the morning. What was it? Monday or Tuesday? Monday. And talked to this girl, never met her. She lives down south, and she said she was ready to join. So you just never know. And I just want to make sure that you don't necessarily, like Allison kind of said, she's new in this business and she kind of just is enjoying this, and she's into health and wellness, and she kind of just did it to do something different and have a little bit of fun. And so I hope to give her more than just that.
Too. I'll take whatever I can get.
Yeah, and that's why I feel that just overall that I think Plexus can almost give anything that you may be lacking. I feel like there's no reason why anything that we share, we do is beneficial to your overall quality of life, period. So I do enjoy this business because it ties into our everyday life, and it's important to know certain ingredients and learn about all these health issues, because it's like now that I'm in this business, there's people that have health issues that I never knew until they privately message me. Does anybody do you agree with that?
Totally.
I have to say, I love that you said quality of life. For those of you, and most of you don't know much of anything about me, but I work in public health, and that's what really drew me to Plexus, is that it's about quality of life. And that's what I work to do every day. And for those of you who don't know, I work for Special Olympics. And so that's what I do is I'm just motivated to help people to live the best quality of life. And I think that if your body works the way it's supposed to, which is what Plexus, I think can do for someone, that's what motivated me. I'll stop talking now so the rest of you can.
You're doing a great job.
I like to talk too much, so just tell me to stop.
Me too. Again, when the first couple times when I did our team calls, because this is like only, I don't know, we just started recently doing these the past couple months. I feel like I was talking to myself into this webcam here. And there was all these little faces staring at me. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.